this year I decided to go for Castellated Spacers on my super boxes. I'm going to tell you why, and I'm going to tell you a big mistake I made when purchasing them and big differences between brands of spacers. So first off, let's just talk about what an actual spacer is. So you're probably used to runners. This is a runner. This is what you find on most brood boxes and supers, especially if you're learning. This is what you'll be using. And you'll be using Hoffman frames, which are frames that have the bee space built into the frames themselves. As you can see, these frames are touching, but there's a gap in between them, and that is a bee space. You can't go wrong. You put your frames into your box and you can slide them until they touch, and then you know that they're perfectly spaced. So this is actually a brood box. For the purposes of this video, it makes no difference really between a brood box and a super. They're exactly the same. It's just the brood box frames are a little bit deeper. So these are DN4 frames, and it's in a brood box. As you can see, you can fit up to 12 frames in a box. Now, practically day to day, this is foundation, once these frames are actually drawn out, you probably only fit in 11 frames, and then you'd have a little bit of space on one end. You could put like a little blank board in there, or you could just leave it empty. So that's probably what you're used to, runners. And yeah, this is what I use for all my brood boxes. I think it's absolutely ideal, especially when you're doing your inspection. You can take a frame out, you can pop it to the side, and then you can slide all your frames. You can inspect one, you can pop it back in, you can slide it back. Once you've found your frame with your queen on, you can put it in extremely gently, and you can just slide that together against the other frame, making sure that your queen is nice and safe. So yeah, that's brilliant. Like I say, use that for all my brood boxes. I think it is a really good idea. That being said, why have I decided to change to Castellated Spacers? So this is a super box, and this has my 10 frame Castellated Spacers inside. You may have seen these. Essentially, what they are is instead of using a rail or runner, it's got cutouts for each frame. So this is an SN1 frame, which means it doesn't actually have the Hoffman spacing. So if you put them together, they'll actually touch and you won't have any bee space at all. So that's obviously not ideal if you're using runners. Quick side note, if you are using runners, these frames are compatible because you can buy plastic spacers. So these just go on to your sort of SN1 frames, and then you can use them on a box with runners, just like that. So I do really, really like these frames. For starters, they're cheaper than SN4 frames, and I find them super easy to build because you can put them flat on a table. Also, if you don't have a box to fill up, they stack super easy as well. So I'm a big convert from SN4 to SN1 frames. Even if you have runners, you can use the spacers, and yeah, ideal. So I've got SN1 frames and I've got a Castellated spacer here. So like I said, this is my box, and why would you use spacers instead of just using a runner? And the reason is you can use different a bee space in between each frame. So this box has 10 frames as against runners on Hoffman frames, which would fit 11 or potentially even 12. All that means is bees can build out that comb a little bit further, and when it comes to processing your honey, it makes it easier to uncap the wax off. And yeah, I just like them. It just gives more space in between each frame, and also it's perfectly even spacing. For transport as well, look at that. Absolutely hardly any movement in any of those frames. Your frames aren't knocking against each other, and it's a super sturdy and it's a good system. Now, the frames, the Castellations I'm using here are the Thorne beekeeping ones. They are very expensive in my opinion for what they are. £2.50 per pair. Yeah, that's quite a lot for a little piece of galvanized metal. So I went shopping around and I saw Simon the Beekeeper. They do their own Castellations. 10 frame as well. So exactly the same as this as far as how many frames you fit in per box. But look at how different they are. I didn't realize this when I bought them. These are actually £1.50 per pair, so a lot cheaper. But there's a big caveat there, and I didn't realize this until I bought them. So for starters, I don't know if you can see, but the spacing is super weird. It doesn't fit a frame exactly. So whereas with the Thorne beekeeping one, your frame sits in, there's absolutely no wiggle room forward and backwards at all. Your frames are perfectly spaced. With this one from Simon the Beekeeper, look at how much movement there is in the frame. There's like 3 mil or 4 mil per frame. And that means that your spacing, because you've got 2 frames, can be anywhere from like 6 mil to 8 mil difference in between just frames sitting next to each other. I don't know why they've designed them like that. Let me show you a box with them in. So this is a box with the Simon the Beekeeper 10 frame Castellations. And look how much movement there is in between these. And look, I can't even show you because they're all just gonna start shifting and falling out. That's because they are tapered, as you can see here, which initially I thought would be a good idea. I like how that they're not super sharp. These, only thing I don't like about the Thorne ones is the points on them are super sharp. You're gonna catch your gloves on these a lot. And if they just rounded out literally just a mil from the corner, I mean, I could probably do that myself with a grinder. I don't know why they don't manufacture them with a tiny bit of a chamfer. That being said, these are way too chamfered. You're not gonna catch your gloves on them, but yeah, I don't know if it's just the chamfer on them or it's because there's such a big space. Yeah, these do not work for me at all. Another point is, as you can see, the holes for nailing them onto the boxes are a lot bigger. You probably don't think that's a big deal, but for me, I like to be as minimalist as possible. I only use 3 nails for building a box, and one of the nails I use is just gimp pins. So I attach these using gimp pins because they've got a small hole. If for whatever reason you do need to pull the Castellation off, you can pry it off, super easy. And then you can also just tack another gimp pin straight into that same hole, or put 2 into one hole, and it's gonna secure that nice and easy. For this, you've got to use massive flathead nails or clouts. A bit unnecessary. When you pry them off, you're gonna have fun fixing them back on again, because that's gonna just be a massive hole and the nail's not gonna want to secure to it. So I don't like them for that reason. Also, you'll see, even though the total height of the Castellation is very similar, the actual depth that the frame sits in is different. So it's a lot shallower with the Simon the Beekeeper Castellation. That's not a big deal. It might be some benefit in some cases. Your Castellations aren't sitting quite flush with the top of the box, whereas they do with the Thorne Castellation. So that could be a bonus. I think if it was just a tighter tolerance on the frame spacing, I think these would be perfectly fine, albeit with the bigger holes. But I really can't get to grips with using these day to day as against the Thorne ones. Yeah, it is a bit sad. I do like a lot of the stuff that Simon the Beekeeper sells, but sadly, this is not for me. I'm gonna pay the extra £1 and get the Thorne ones instead. So there we go, a bit of a deep dive into Castellations. Never thought there was so much to just 2 pieces of metal, but I hope you learned something today. I certainly did when I bought them. So thanks for watching. If you stayed this long, I appreciate it, and I'll see you in the next video. Cheers.